We've been married for about 35 years.
So let's rewind the clock a little bit and, go back to the time that you met your wife.
She was the front end of the company, incidentally. As soon as I go there, she was basically right there in the front.
Mm-hmm.
That basically caught my eye. That was my
Lovely.
introduction.
That's so interesting.
A lot of things were like, yeah, I like that too, and I like that too.
How do you keep the spark alive?
Just talk it out, right? Many of those things are automatically solved in the sense it's no longer a burden.
Do you have a favorite memory that you share with your wife?
There were a lot of things that required a whole lot of learning. So we did that together and we just laugh at a couple of things that we screwed up in the beginning stage of our life.
What is your favorite quality in your wife?
When you're married for so long, you complete each other's sentences.
Yeah.
Not literally. In our case, it's more like we complete each other's thought process.
They say that to be loved is to be known, right? Hello and welcome back to Love Handle, where we get unfiltered about love and relationships. Today we are so pleased and honored to host Mr. Subramaniam joining us to share a little bit about his marriage, his love story, and how things unfolded.
I'm Subramaniam, and I got a great attachment to this company, of course.
Thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's rewind the clock a little bit and, go back to the time that you met your wife.
We've been married for about 35 years. So I met my wife several years ago. And when I was working in Hyderabad, so I was working in this company, and she was working in a company which is just about close by, a few blocks from there. And I had reasons to go and meet one of the persons there because he was related to me. It used to drop in there to say hello to him and so on. That's when I met my future wife. We were dating for about a year and a half, this meeting outside, and initially the family didn't know about it, and neither did her family know about it. So then it's kind of an unwritten kind of, these guys are pretty close and they're serious about it.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. And tell me, in those days, I think it was common that people got arranged marriages as well.
Yeah.
And yours wasn't. So what was the reaction from your families once you did tell them?
That was agonizing.
Really?
Okay? Yes. And I remember I just rode my motorbike and then went to their place.
Yeah.
And as I was parking my motorbike and removing my helmet and all, I could see everyone was glaring at me.
Oh, really?
It's like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
So it was, thinking back, it was all, it's funny. I noticed that the more we kept talking, I could see the comfort level, getting much better. And I could see some likings from the father's side. So that's how it went. And then somehow I just managed to finish the lunch and then I scram out of there.
Okay. And then did you hear later that you passed the test?
She did call me later on and say, hey, you know what? They'll all liked you. They just loved you and stuff like that.
Tell us a little bit more about how living in the US, sort of adjusting to a new culture, a new lifestyle, how that influenced your relationship together. You're building a new life together, your marriage. How did that evolve?
We had taken a major step to, leave the country and come here. So we had to make sure that everything we do has to make it ultimately successful in the end. We don't want to basically say, you know what, I give up. I cannot, live in this kind of thing. I cannot cope with this life. That's not the result we wanted. Being a college student and supporting, my wife and of course Rahul, it was very difficult. So that was the time when, we got much more closer together, so because we had same kind of issues, same kind of adjustments and so on. So those things will help us, move closer and closer together.
I think in a sense of tackling challenges of life together can really solidify a bond.
Exactly. So that really helped. A lot of things were happening in our mind, but we didn't let that, affect our relationship. Our focus was more on, trying to adjust to the life and moving forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And professionally speaking, how do you think having a partner facilitates or enables your growth?
So anytime we have an issue, just talk it out, right? Sometimes we just find by speaking it out, by verbalizing it, many of those things are automatically solved in the sense it's no longer a burden, when you start thinking about it. Because you say something and she say, hey, how about this?
Right.
And something comes up. And pretty much, oh yeah, that's not a bad idea. It's not as bad as we thought it's going to be. So sometimes it's communication and it's compromise,
comfort also.
and then discussing things, whether it's a good or bad thing.
Talk to me a little bit about how you both worked to retain some traditional values from back home that were important to you, and how you chose to raise your children in a way that synthesized maybe both cultures.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely important. Okay, so we both of us, me and my wife, had made it as a highest priority. So when we are raising children, make sure that they understand the culture we are coming from, and the values and stuff like that. So right from first grade all the way to 12th grade, they were in the Chinmaya mission. I
went to Chinmaya mission too.
You did? Oh,
yeah, all the
nice.
kids do.
Yeah. Just a good thing. On a weekend, they just go listen to stories and had some, slokas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All those things help them a lot. So they understand the importance of festivals and understand the importance of tradition, why you do those things. That totally helped a lot.
You mentioned 35
yes,
years you've been married.
Yes.
How do you keep the spark alive?
It's not an easy thing. I mean, it's not a one-size-fit-all kind of thing, right? So once you start working on, a life together, there will be a lot of hurdles. There will be a lot of questions. There will be a lot of priority differences that will come up. And when you have a child, the importance of his education and, the child's education, all those things come up, and certain things take backstage, right? So it's very important that, we continue the communication and understand what the priorities are. Again, it's easier said than done. I'm not saying it's magic. We have to go through a lot of hard work. And that's what separates us from many of the cultures here in the United States, for example. It's like what I say, what you say, my priorities and your priorities don't match. So I don't think we can call it a day. Let's move on.
Yeah.
They give it up easily. So that's a thing which you shouldn't.
This is how we were brought up, right? In India, we were shown that the importance of family is utmost highly valued here, I think, and especially when you're living outside of India, even more important to pull from the lessons and wisdom of your roots.
So when we started off in US, we didn't have the family structure like we had in India. But until then, we were all alone. So we had to celebrate Diwali with strangers, for example. A lot of Indians were there. We get to know them and see how they are celebrating and how we. So those are the things that bind us together, and that was fantastic.
Do you have a favorite memory that you share with your wife that particularly comes to mind? I'm sure you have many, but...
Well, I mean, there were a lot of interesting things that happened where we were... Anyway, I'm not getting into details there, but so a couple of times we were told, you know what, when you meet with these people, this is how you engage with them, this is how you greet them, this is how we basically talk to them and so on. There were a lot of things that required a whole lot of learning. So we did that together, and we just laugh at a couple of things that we screwed up in the beginning stage of our life.
I think learning new things together is such a powerful bonding activity and experience, because you feel you're growing together, right? Like you're doing things together. It's very much, I don't know. It's like a vulnerable thing, right? You're navigating these experiences for the first time, and to be able to do it with someone, a partner whom, you really trust. I think that's great.
Yeah, that is a great experience.
Yeah. What is your favorite quality in your wife that you really admire and you respect and that you're grateful for?
She kind of anticipates what I would like to do and what my thought process is and so on. Remember when they say, when you're married for so long, you complete each other's sentences?
Yeah.
Not literally. In our case, it's more like we complete each other's thought process.
Wow.
That's one thing. Sometimes she just says, I know what you think. You're worried about this thing, is it?
Yeah.
Things like that. So that kind of a maturity comes up because of the long marriage we had. So that's one thing which I really like, because she anticipates certain things that's likely to happen and what we are thinking about.
Yeah.
So that's I like that.
They say that to be loved is to be known, right? And how amazing is it to have someone who knows you so well, inside and out?
Yes.
What advice would you give people out there on the relationship search?
So more important is everybody knows everything about themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need to basically understand what exactly are the values you expect from the other person.
Right.
Make sure you're very clear about that.
Sure.
And then give enough time to understand each other before make any commitment to marrying somebody.
Okay.
Right? And so on. Of course, rest of the stuff will automatically fall into place if those things are compatible. So be patient and try to figure out what is important to you in your mate before you decide on moving forward. That's definitely what I would say.
Perfect. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Love Handle. If you enjoyed this video, do be sure to hit subscribe for more such wholesome, heartwarming content, and we'll see you for the next one. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.